Hello, and welcome to Betting with Big Amo. He's over there on the little screen. Don't worry, he'll get bigger here in a second. He'll be right there with us. Joining us today is a very special guest, Tyson, here in the studio. Hi, Tyson. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man.
Hey, everybody. My name's Tyson. Been playing fantasy football for over a decade. Now, and just going to give a little insight on who I think my defensive player of the year is today.
Nice. Yeah, I played with Tyson for about 10 years, maybe a little more. Multiple sports. Big Amo and I, we all play NBA. Big Amo's champion. I don't know if you can quite see the trophy. It's over there somewhere still hanging up on the top. But yeah, every Sunday we're going to be here giving you some betting. Once the season gets in review, we're going to try to hammer the market. We've been looking at futures the past couple of weeks. We'll review some bets. But this week, we're specifically going to talk about hedging. We hedged Defensive Player of the Year. We took a bunch of free bets from basketball, so way back when the finals were going on earlier this summer. And we put those on Defensive Players of the Year. We're going to talk to you guys about that. And then we're also going to talk about a great breakdown that Amo's done with the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. And we're also going to talk about an interesting parlay that we found for week 1 already. So when we get started, let's get back and talk about the mantra a little bit. Big Amo, if you don't mind, I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and I'm going to hand over, and we're going to change this format and bring it up so people can see it a little better.
Hey, everyone. Right, okay, so this is the principles of betting. It's a semi-pro bettor's mantra. This is what me and Iggy are trying to do all year. It's quite a simple principle. If you just flip the next one for me, Iggy, I'll show us the mantra. So the mantra is basically we're going to have a bankroll. Now, the important thing about having a bankroll is that we can have as much freedom as we possibly can. This is going to be made of disposable cash. We're not telling you how much you should put in your bankroll. It should be whatever that you can afford. I mean, we're in a crisis at the moment, and prices are fluctuating all over the place. So try and be sensible. It is we are gambling, but we want to gamble within our means. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and get some unit values from your bankroll. It's usually about sort of 10 or 15% of your bankroll. We want to look to record all our transitions. Otherwise, we won't learn from what we've put our bets on. What did work, what didn't work, where's the cash cow, where are we hemorrhaging money, and also utilize all the bookies. You don't just have one, have multiple ones, because they all have different lines, they all have different opportunities, and they all have different offers as well. So what we want to do, we want to play with freedom, and we want to gamble as best we can and have a bankroll with disposable cash, which is massively important. We've got a bankroll set aside for the podcast, and we'll be dipping in it all year. The idea is hopefully that we should be able to replace our original bankroll with profit, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to expound on that and say that we're going to have proof of that with the live bet today on a Defensive Player of the Year. We searched multiple books. I searched 3. I found the best odds. That's the one we're going to use. So it does go hand in hand with, the more variety you have, the more money you can get on the exact same bet. It'd be kind of foolish not to. So. All right. Go ahead, recap Big Amo, if you don't mind.
Well, last week we discussed MVPs. We loved Josh Allen. Everyone loves the Bills this year. As Iggy said also, that it's more than likely that the NFL have rigged it up so that the Bills win. They're on the most live games, is most primetime games. So we think Josh Allen's just going to explode. He's going to do well. Plus 700 is an absolute bargain for him. I think he's going to get the Bills into a position where ultimately they've got to get the number 1 seed. That's got to be their main aim. So I think he'll put performances, and he'll put lots of performances also on live TV, where hopefully most of the bettors will be watching. And plus 700 is not going to be plus 700 after the first couple of weeks. So we're going to try and get in, and we're hopefully going to get some money back. If not, we can hedge.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that slide right there, foot right now, is about some defensive players of the year. Let me just go ahead and make it a little bigger. So there we have, this Big Amo made this off his rankings, and the red on the left is kind of bad offensive lines or poor offensive lines based off of last year. You know, they could have improvement this year. We'll have to see what's going on, but these are the teams that kind of gave up the most sacks the previous year. As I said, we got a bunch of free bets essentially. So we placed a bunch of. We talked about this back then. I said, "Hey, I think I'm just going to go ahead and start hedging defensive players of the year." Okay, and we did this. The top name, obviously, Aaron Donald. So we got him. It's always good to have a guy that can win more than anybody. Although he just went and like swung his helmet at people in practice like a weapon. I don't know. I've always said that the NFL panders to the Rams, and that's just another reason to have Aaron Donald because, you know, if you got him as one of your people, then he's going to excel well in that situation. And also, if you look at it, he's playing some bad offensive lines off the in the beginning of the season as well. We've also went and got Myles Garrett, which I don't see him. There he is right there, number 3 down the list. He's got the Steelers twice. He has the Falcons once, it looks like. And then, of course, he's got the Bengals, who he's just wrecking. We've already talked about the Steelers. And then the Ravens, I don't know what their offensive line is going to look like really this year, but I don't expect the Bengals to be just super vastly improved. Garrett seems like he gets to Burrow every time he plays him as well. Those division games is where you can rack up a lot of sacks because you know your division opponent really well. You know that offensive tackle really well. You know that quarterback's cadence really well. And a lot of times these sacks come against division opponents, particularly the TJ Watts, the Myles Garrett. Why are they so good? They're in the AFC North, where the offensive line play is actually really poor, and they're able to get a bunch of sacks that way. All right. We've also taken Michael Parsons. I think that he has a great chance to lead the league in sacks. Like we said, most of the time these defensive players of the year, they're not the players getting the most tackles. They're the people that have magnificent plays, but most of the time it's the sack people. It's the team with the most sacks, the team that is in the playoffs, and their guy has the most sacks. TJ Watt got it. Aaron Donald may not lead the league in all his sacks. He's kind of an anomaly to it, but he still will be in the top 5 in sacks, plus do everything else he does. So no matter if Michael Parsons plays linebacker, his big play ability is what's going to, I believe, get him there. The Cowboys' offense could be pretty bad with the loss of 2 offensive linemen. They've lost 2 wide receivers. People are really down on Zeke. Pollard may have to be their wide receiver too. With that being said, there could be plenty more defensive snaps for the Cowboys in store. And I trust them to execute well. They actually had a pretty decent defense at the second half of the season. A lot of that was Micah Parsons. Real quick, Big Amo, do you have anything you want to add? Oh, I got Darius Leonard, but he's hurt. I wanted to bring this out. This is a point of hedging, right? Look, we lost the guy. He's probably not going to get it. It was a long shot anyway, but he's always in the conversation. He's been an All-Pro every year of his career, but he had surgery. He's going to miss a few weeks. So that's why we hedge. We didn't put all our eggs in the Darius Leonard basket. We put one.
Do you know why he's changed his name, Iggy?
Oh yeah, that's right, Shaquille. That's right. It's going to take me a little bit.
Why has he changed it?
I haven't researched into why he did it, but it's it may have been like his middle name or his first name. We may have been calling him by one of his other names. We all have little things we do like that, So, but but that's why we hedge right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we've discussed, and then we're going to place another one here in a second live. But before
there's another slide as well, Iggy.
Let's go over that. Okay, yeah, take it over.
There's another slide, Iggy. Got extra ones.
Oh yeah,
there you go. Yeah, so that's the.
Right there.
So I broke it down by these are PFF rated offensive line projections for this year. So I've taken the bottom 10 to 12 offensive lines. So the dark green ones with the ones that are going to play twice, so they're in division. So there's lots of different people who are obviously going to get hopefully get lots of sacks. Some of the top people are looking to get sort of 20, 25 sort of sacks. So it doesn't really matter what offensive line you're going to put in front of them. So what I really like is the fact is Hutchinson. He was projected to be the #1 rookie. He was also came out #2 because of politics. But he at the Lions are against 11, according to my statistics, 11 teams that potentially are in the bottom 12 to 15. So that gives him an ideal opportunity for him to hopefully get Defensive Rookie of the Year. The only one who's closest to him in the betting at the moment is Thibodeau, and Thibodeau got injured last week, didn't he? They're saying he's going to be okay and it's not as bad. But that just strengthens our sort of opportunities for Hutchinson to be up there. So it's a simple, basic premise. It's not written in stone. But the idea is, in theory, if you were playing against weaker offensive lines, you've got better opportunities to get more sacks. So that's why we have taken, if you go to the next slide, Iggy, we've taken Hutchinson.
Yeah, and I wanted to say real quick, the Hard Knocks, he looks good. I tried to take everything with a grain of salt in Hard Knocks because, they're perceiving it how they want to perceive it. They're not showing you much of the bad stuff. They're showing you only the great stuff. But he came out and had a great preseason performance on his play, got past a number one tackle. So I think the potential is there for him. I think the eye test is there for him. As somebody that doesn't watch a whole lot of college football, from what I've seen so far out of his preseason game and out of Hard Knocks, it's rather encouraging.
So our first bet for this week is Hutchinson to win Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. You go to the next slide, Iggy. You should have the price of it. Is it plus 450?
Yeah, there it is. Right
plus
there.
450. 1 unit on Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie Hutchinson, due to my findings.
All right, yeah. So there we go. We've gotten two bets so far. Two bets so far for the podcast. But let's go back and talk about Khalil Mack a little bit. I want to hand it over to Tyson real quick.
So research shows that in 2015, Khalil Mack had 15 sacks when he was with the Raiders. And the trade to Chicago, he was supposed to be the guy, but it just didn't really work out for him. They, double teamed him a lot and battled injuries and different things. But I truly do believe that, him going over to LA, playing opposite of Joey Bosa and, Kyle Van Noy keeping the middle honest. I really do feel like he's going to have a career year. I don't know if 15 sacks is, the over or under on that. But, one interesting thing about him is before he got hurt last year, week 3 against the Browns, he had 6 sacks in 7 games. So he was well on his way, to having a really standout year. And I also look at teams that I feel like are going to be making a playoff push and really need to stabilize that side of the football. And I feel like Herbert's going to have a really decent, above average year. And so that's my take on it.
And that's at
well, just looking at the chart, Iggy, if I can just jump in. Just jumping into the chart, Bosa, who we were just discussing, who's going to be on the other side of him, him and his brother Nick are also. So they're going to get plenty of opportunities, Mac is, because they're either going to have to stop one or the other, aren't they? So it's going to be a two-headed monster. So Joey Bosa, I think he's got something like 8 or 9 opportunities against the lower offensive line. So if he can redeem his form that he did sort of 2 years ago, he's very much going to be in the running. And I know the Chargers are very, very everyone's favourites to do well this year. So I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, plus 3,000. At plus 3,000, that's really good odds to take a look at. And like I said, I went to take a look to place a live bet. If you want a long shot, maybe you could keep this as a cash out option if they'll let you mid-season or something. If he is leading the way in sacks, I think Bane Gary, they pick up his 5th-year option. I've already said it from a standpoint. I think Green Bay's going to have an excellent defense. They just got better. They secured everything. They signed Jair Alexander. They signed Russell Douglas. They signed Devondre Campbell. They extended Gary. They signed Preston Smith. It's a little talked about thing that how many people they were able to retain over that defense that didn't give up a single point in the playoff game. to think about that. That's how great and dominant they were. But I do think Gary, he's kind of a little bit known about. People are starting to know who he is. Preston Smith is going to be their garnishing guy. So they're not going to be able to double team him because there's too much edge pressure coming off the edges for the Green Bay Packers. And I do think Gary, if they play with the positive game script at all, Gary's kind of matchup proof. He sacked Trent Williams. You see San Francisco's line on there? They have an excellent line. He went against the best tackle in the league and got 2 sacks. I think he's going to be almost matchup proof. Everything out of training camp saying that he has just dominated who's ever been across from him in the offensive line. He's been running past Aaron Rodgers. If you know anything about training camp, if you're the pressure guy, you can't hit the quarterback, but you're allowed to run by him to signify you're sacked. And they said he's been nonstop able to do that. And I checked out Mr. Moody, Eric Moody's on ESPN, and I talked to him about what he thought about Gary. And I asked him, I was like, what about the positive game script? Do you think he can lead this league in sacks? Do you think he has a shot at Defensive Player of the Year? And his response to me was, he's like, I don't think it matters if they're playing ahead or not. He's like, he has a great chance to lead the league in sacks this year. So that was all I needed to hear. Minnesota's going to pass more. Chicago's going to be forced to pass more. Looks like the Lions are going to be passing quite a bit with Jared Goff, with DJ Shark, with Amon St. Brown, with TJ Hawkinson. These guys, it looks like they're going to throw even to Swift. It looks like Swift is heavily involved in a passing game, and they've already said they're going to limit his reps all the way through the season. So it's going to put more on Goff. That just gives Gary more chances to sack. Just within his own division, it looks like these 3 teams are going to be pass heavy. The opportunities are there. Like I said, sacks come in your division. His odds are at plus 3,500 on DK. If you want to place half a unit, place half a unit, but we're going to place 1 unit bet on it right into the season, possibly cash it out if he's leading the league in sacks. So that's all I wanted to say about Bane Gary, so to speak. We'll push it on to the next slide here. And Big Alma, why don't you go ahead and talk about this? This is something you've been on the Ravens now for a couple months. I've been on the Broncos, but why don't you go ahead and talk about this parlay?
Well, there's so much value when we talk about sort of bets and sort of value for certain bets, and minus 110 for the Ravens and the Broncos. I don't know if we can get anything slightly better than that. I think the Ravens will come up against the Jets this week, and they've got all sorts of trouble. Everyone likes the Jets. Don't get me wrong, but Zach Wilson might not be fully fit. Who's going to take over from there? Ravens have the worst injury luck you've ever seen, known to history. Well, 2000 or whatever it is. So I've got a funny feeling they're going to start strong. They've won all the preseason games as expected, and I think the Ravens are going to come out of the blocks, and they're probably going to blow the Jets away before they can even get a good footing in from this season. I know you're very high on the Broncos, and I just think that putting them both together is it's like you said, it's not a guarantee or anything, but I just think it's probably one of the better bets you can bet at minus 110, rather than having. I think there's I reckon there's more than sort of 80% chance that this is going to hit, rather than maybe a 50-50 that the minus 110 statistics and mathematics implies. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity. That's why we put 3 units on. So it's our really special parlay. It could go down before kickoff if the line sort of fluctuates a little bit. I know the Ravens are at sort of 6 at the moment, but that could easily go up to 7, 7.5, which will of course increase the money line. And I know you're very, very high, Iggy, on the Broncos. If you want to explain why you've picked the Broncos to double up my Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are heavily favorites right now. The Jets lost their offensive lineman, lost their starting quarterback. But to go to the Broncos, man, Tyson and I have both been watching the Broncos, been around Denver as far as the closest sports city for 11 years, 12 years, something like that. It's getting there. So we've been able to follow the Broncos a little bit more, develop a little bit more of appreciation for them. But just my news feed, just my local news feed. Oh, here's the Broncos. What's going on here? So we get a little bit more information, and Russell Wilson has been on point from everything I've read about training camp. He's pretty pumped about this new offense. He's happy to be able to display something that he didn't feel like he was able to fully display in Seattle. And I think the game script's going to go show him what they were missing out on. All respect to Geno Smith. He's quite capable NFL quarterback. You know, Tyson and I were talking about that last night, how we were happy to, you know, watch him play. We watched a little bit of that game. The Dallas Seahawks, watched a little bit of the replay last night, condensed film. But there's just no way. I think the Broncos had an amazing, I think they were in the top 10 points per game last year in the NFL. And I don't see how the Seahawks are going to be able to move against them, and then Russell Wilson going out there and putting on a show. You know, all his teammates are going to want to ball out for him. I can almost guarantee, at least for people living in Colorado, there's going to be some kind of special that we take advantage of from a betting perspective on one of the books, you know, so be prepared for that as well. But the 3-unit bet, you don't just place 3-unit bets all the time, people. All right. I think it's far more common for people to place like a half-unit bet on a parlay than going 3 units on a parlay. You know, that's just not how it is. I've been trying to restructure parlays to be 2 legs, 3 legs if I feel really great about it, you know, because if you notice a lot of this, I'll call it a sucker bet, is like a same game parlay bet with at least 3 legs. Every book I see, they want you to place at least 3 legs on that same game, which just makes your odds of hitting it much more difficult. But this 2-leg parlay with the Broncos Monday night, Ravens, you know, playing Sunday, I think it's really interesting. We get like a 2-day bet to come up. The odds are going to move on us, like you said, if they haven't already moved, with Geno Smith being named the quarterback. Take advantage of it right now while you can. Place a 3-unit bet. We're going to think of something kind of cool. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what comes in threes. I can only think of tacos. Perhaps I'm too hungry. But yeah, man, we'll think of something to do, a double unit, a triple unit bet. You know, like I said, you don't really do that, but we feel really great about this bet. So that's why it's a triple unit bet. Do you want to say anything about the Broncos, Tybo?
Yeah, tickets to Broncos games are going to be pretty outrageously priced, but the AFC West is going to be really entertaining to watch this year, I think. So,
yeah, he's going to have to cook.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely want to go tell.
Yeah, that division's got 4 awesome quarterbacks. Awesome quarterbacks.
Great wide receivers still all around, or great receptions artists. But yeah, I think is there anything else you want to kind of cover on the show today?
Yeah, well, one of the main things that we did really well last year, we got a lot of our winners, was on teasers, and this is a teaser without being a teaser. So because they're too quite short, so we haven't brought the handicap into it. We've effectively taken out the handicap and put them in. So effectively, we've got a teaser. That's why it's a 3-unit teaser, but it's a parlay. I think it's pretty solid. I really do. But we'll have more insights and more ideas and more bets as the season comes in. One of the other benefits as well, with it being the Monday night primetime game, is that if anything happens, or if there's illnesses or injuries, there's a possibility that we might be able to cash out after the Ravens. It won't be the biggest cash out because it's such a small line, but we have got that opportunity for a cash out if we need to. Or ultimately, we could also cash out during the game. If the Broncos are already very much ahead, we may as well take as much as we can. But we're looking for as much profit as we possibly can. That's the idea. We're going to record everything. Everything's going to be on a spreadsheet. It will be linked to probably the next week's YouTube channel. It's also going to be pinned on mine and probably Iggy's Twitter handles as well. So if you want to get hold of me, I'm on @LocoBeans. Iggy is @IDP Iggy. And let's get the new season over. I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and like we said, IDP_Iggy out there if you're following. And,
all right.
We want to say that, yeah, be looking for books. If you're opening a new book, be careful because there's oftentimes a good deposit bonus. All right, and maybe Big Amo has a refer a friend bonus if you're in the UK on some books over there. I definitely have some for every one of them. I use DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet Points, and then I use a local one at the casino here in Colorado. Those are my 4 main books. I have others downloaded, such as Caesars, such as William Hill, but those are my 4 go-to because if you spend all your time looking at books, before you know it, the odds are going to move. By the time you get back to it, and be looking at in-live betting. You know, I don't know much about college football. I got a boost for an in-live bet for the first weekend. Took two teams I didn't know. I took like you had to have negative 300. I just put a bankroll builder on it. I just like this team. I feel very confident on it. Placed a pretty good wager on it. Got it. It was like over it. Like they went up by 17 in the next quarter. So, you know, pay attention to some of these promos. Don't do the odds boost. I think those are suckers bets. With the promos, it's at your discretion for most of them which bet you're going to make. So try to take advantage of these. Let's build up the bankroll, or, you know, secure the bankroll, or get some more future bets so you can hedge by taking advantage of some of these live bets, some of these promos and so forth that they're offering us, okay? Yeah, and have fun. I do want to recap last night for Jailhouse Bets. I put a parlay on for the Falcons to beat the Jaguars and the Colts to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I forgot I placed that bet about 2 hours later. And I put a bankroll builder bet on the Colts to just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I knew they would. And I knew they have a better second unit than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do right now with so many injuries. And that was a very successful bet. So we were able to get on that. The live bet went 3 for 4 betting yesterday. So, you know, you got to bet. You got to have your philosophy. We talk about bets here, but if you ever want to hit up about a pregame bet or something we don't cover on here, please hit us up. Like you said, Loco Beans with a Z, IDP_Iggy, or just get on the comments right here on the YouTube. I'm more than happy to show any comments that come up on here. All right. So thank you guys for joining. Anything you'd like to say in closing, Tyson?
Yeah, just thank you for allowing me to come on and give a little bit of insight. Maybe I can do it again.
I don't know. Love to have you, dude. Anything else, Almo, before we get out of here?
Thanks to Tybo for coming on. It's amazing. Tomorrow is the US Open in tennis. Some people are interested in it. Some people aren't. I will be betting on it. I'm possibly putting out a video on it as well. So I'm going to start building a tennis bankroll as well. So that'll be under semi-pro better. But I'll tell you more about that hopefully when everything's done. But the US Open tomorrow. Lots of qualifiers. There's about 4 million games. It's just a case of rooting through which one is going to get some value. I've already found my 5 bets I've got. So I'm all excited about that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys tune into that. Almo's an excellent tennis bettor. You know, he's got great success. I'm not trying to jinx it, knock on wood, but you know, he's had great success with it. You know, so make sure you guys tune in on that. I'm going to try to get on that as well, particularly if you can do it live. Like, you do a lot of that live as well, right? On the serves and so forth.
Yes, I can do. I do a lot of. One of my main things is I trade on tennis. It's going to be difficult this time because of the time limits, but I'll be able to do some of the earlier games. But some of your late matches, it's just going to be too late for me. But I think a lot of them over here starts around about sort of now time, really. So I should be able to do a couple of things as well. Should be good.
All righty, man. Well, yeah, you guys make sure to tune in next week. We'll have you closer to the show. And you guys take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.